What is up, Wizards fans? Welcome to another Believe in Wizards podcast. I'm Matt Modderno. He's Jahadi White. You know the drill at this point. We're going to get into everything here. Today, we're into where the Wizards are. They didn't start off the new year particularly well. Jahadi last night, kind of a blowout. Wizards lost 101 to 140 to the Cavaliers. Third quarter, fourth quarter, kind of rough. Any initial takeaways you had from that game?
I mean, it's the typical, the third and fourth. Yeah. But I do see the players having more freedom they feel like they have more freedom to play, right? So it's one thing that I'm seeing on one end, they're having more freedom to play, a little bit more enjoying playing. But I don't think they're thinking about winning the game, right? Yeah. So now it's the point to it is what it is. So I'm going to enjoy myself playing. So I see a lot of players enjoying themselves playing out there, like being able to be even more aggressive, being able to play ball. It's almost like they're playing on a blacktop.
Pickup game kind of thing, yeah.
Like I feel like I'm watching always the first two quarters. I always feel like I'm watching a good pickup game. And then, when the lack of defense it sticks out like a sore thumb. If they just open the lane wide up, it's like, you know what? If I'm going to be out here and I'm going to be in the pickup game, I'm not trying to get any fouls.
You don't want to get hurt, too.
Yeah, get hurt. I want to get any fouls, but I want to stay out here. And I'm really starting to watch that. So, also just, I was disappointed with the way Gafford played the last game against the Hawks. I'm starting to see little inklings of the old Gafford. I don't like that. Right, as far as it's not rebounding, falling over, you got rid of that. You got that out of your game. Like, don't go back to that.
It was interesting in this Cavs game specifically. He got credited with 5 rebounds. I specifically remember 3 offensive rebounds because I was really impressed that he attacked the offensive glass. So I can't imagine he only had 2 defensive rebounds at the entire. I mean, he didn't play a ton, but I'm just like, this is a particularly bad sign. And I'm glad you said that about getting into the lane kind of easily. I was listening to the Cavs broadcast last night, and they talked about, I think it was Brad Dougherty calling the game for them, and twice in the second quarter toward the tail end when they started to inch away a little bit, he talked about how the Cavs players looked shocked at how uncontested their drives to the rim were, and that the Wizards don't defend anybody after 2 dribbles was the quote. And I was like, yeah, he's right. I mean, it's exactly what everybody else is seeing too, I think.
That's a great point. I mean, listen, if you get 1 foot in the paint, then you're there. Right? I mean, it's just the paint touches are blow my mind how many paint touches we allow other teams to get, right? And I'm serious when I said no one wants to commit fouls. I mean, I get it, but it's a point to where you're gonna have to sometimes risk a foul to contest a shot. I'm seeing the only Gafford block guaranteed blocks. Like I want to keep my block stats. So let me get the ones that's guaranteed that I can get without touching the guy. Sometimes a guy may do another move. You gotta adjust, and you make it a foul, you make it a block. But it depends on how much that moment means to you for the team, right? Like how much you want to win, right? There's no emphasis on defense as far as winning, no urgency to win. Right? So we're like, we playing. I see a lot of playing. I don't see anything based upon winning.
It's without purpose a lot of the time. Right. Before we get too into it, just knock our ad reads out here. Brought to you by BetOnline. It's your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, UFC, golf, tennis, NBA, more. You can bet on the Wizards if you want to do that, or bet against the Wizards, maybe if you want to win some money right about now. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to place all your wagers, including live betting options for your favorite casino and card games, available right from your mobile device. You can head to the website and use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for 50% off. Welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Also brought to you by Stateside Vodka. We're needing more and more of that as this season goes on. Just circling back to the Gafford blocks thing here for a second. There were a couple times where he does block, and then his man will like dive to the rim if he's like actually like helping out or contesting somebody else's man on the weak side. And that guy scores, and then you see everybody kind of look at Gafford like, why did your man get that putback? I'm wondering if he's just like, F it. Nobody's going to rotate and help me, so I'm not helping anybody else. Like, it just looks like the defense is getting kind of selfish to me, especially, again, I keep shitting on Poole, but when Poole is involved, every pick and roll that involves Poole, you know he's not going to help you. Like, if there's a scramble situation, he just stands in the paint and doesn't even pick anybody up.
No. Poole doesn't help. And Poole looks forward to the pick and roll, so he
can give up.
He looks forward to giving up.
Yeah,
and he sticks on the man and try to swing it around. It's like it's super Hollywood what he does with pick and rolls, and then he just stands there and does like this with his hands.
Yeah,
right. And then for us, Gafford, he doesn't do the second thing, the second effort right now. He's definitely going for the block, but after the block. Yeah. I got the block. I'm not now. It's a block, and then once you land after the block to go right into the second thing.
Yeah, plays over for him.
Right, it's over for him. I got that.
Yeah.
So right now, it's just kind of I feel like we just kind of filling the stat sheet and playing and hooping.
The transition defense seemed like it was especially a mess to me last night. I don't know what the numbers bear out, but the actual, like, the way it looked was bad. There were a couple times where guys were just scrambling to get back, and multiple Wizards picked up the same guy and then had to try to, like, get somebody else. I don't know if they were just filling a particular lane or they didn't know their assignment, or I'm not sure what was happening there. It looked like a bad rec league pickup game. Like, that's something I get on my teammates for. Is like, no, you just pick up whoever's closest to the basket, get somebody else. Like, it was just.
It looked like the rec league pickup game after you played about 10 games, and
everybody's too tired to get back.
Those last few games, just it's just hey, whoever wins, whatever, right? It's an all offense, but for its transition defense, it's times where I seen guys just standing there and then slowly jogging back, and only two guys sprinting back. Right. So right now, there's no value in transition defense. No one is valuing it. There's no emphasis in it. We're not getting back on transition at all, for real. We don't care to. So right, like what I'm saying, like it's the W's are not important to us, even though we got one the other day. But that's not what the players are interested right now. To me, it just looks like they're interested in getting their stats and having fun doing it.
If I'm playing in a pickup game and I'm the first guy back on a fast break as a defender, I'm going to grab the guy under the basket or whoever's the most, biggest threat to score at that point. And then I'm going to hope somebody will pick up my primary matchup and cover for me.
Help.
Does that work the same way in the NBA? Is that just general premise?
Yeah.
Like,
if I'm picking up the first guy back, that first guy could be anyone.
Yeah.
Right. So usually the guy who picks up the first guy back is the point, because he's at the top of the key. He's last. He's the one who doesn't have the furthest to run back. Right. So the point usually picks up the first guy back. So it may be a 4 picking up a 1.
Yeah.
Right. It may be a 5 picking up a 2. Right. And then you just have to convert from there. The second guy back is just got to pick up the guy who's the second guy in the run. We got to figure it out. But now as everybody gets stopped, we can now get our guy back based on switches.
Yeah, you find a way to end up on somebody who's a more right-sized matchup for you as the play goes on.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's really insightful. The other thing last night, they made Max Strus look like Sonic's version of Ray Allen. I mean, he was just running around screens, hitting threes, like a lightly contested. At some point, like, can he just dump truck the guy into the third row or something? Like, I mean, we can't get highlight reeled by Max Strus for 35 minutes.
I think Max Strus circled this game on his calendar.
Yeah, he was ready to go. He was going to make some money off this.
The one right here.
Yeah.
So preparing for this one. So
yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
All right. So first quarter, pretty solid. It just seemed to be one of those games where it slowly unraveled. And I thought defensive communication was another big thing. Like, obviously, you can't hear everything on the court from TV, but you can usually tell if people are communicating with their teammates. I don't see, even when I go to games, I don't hear anything from this particular group anymore. Like Gafford, maybe this is just oversimplification, but I always think the center is kind of the guy calling stuff out for people. He doesn't say shit anymore. And I don't know if, like he used to. So I don't know what changed there. Is that an effort thing also?
Yes, but no. Yes,
Okay.
definitely an effort thing. But it's when the team is in sync, defensive wise, right? There's no importance on defense. From 1 through 5, there's no importance on defense.
Yeah.
So it's now it's just understood that there's on the defensive end is not that important, right? So once that settles in and sets in on a team, what's the purpose?
Right.
What's the purpose of calling out screen? Get a screen. What's the purpose of being Gafford being now the defensive quarterback because he's under the basket and you see everything, right? So it's then what's the purpose of Jordan Poole going around the screen even though he hasn't been able to do it all season, right? So when all of those small things break down piece by piece, why am I the one yelling?
Yeah.
What purpose would it serve?
No one's yelling for me, so why am I yelling?
But it would serve a purpose if someone was.
Right.
Because I know this guy's not getting ready to, really try to, put everything, use his will to make sure he get this stop. I know this guy's not going to yell left and switch real hard. I know he's not going to show on the screen, sprint back to his man. I know none of those things aren't about to happen today.
Yeah. How do you reset that? Is that the players, like, is this a commitment to like, all right, we're starting fresh here from now on, we have to do those things? Or are you just saying like, hey, we're not winning shit this year anyway. This is going to be 50 more games of cardio, and then we'll see where we all end up next season.
It seems like that's the personality and the attitude they've taken on by now. I still feel like there's a lot of season left.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be hard to watch 50 more games of that shit.
Yeah, for you to already take on this like we're done. Like, you know how long you're gonna make this season?
Yeah. At the 65 game mark, if you're eliminated from the playoffs and guys are starting to phone it in a little bit, like, okay, like I can kind of see that. I mean, that's human nature, I would think. But I mean, we've seen bad teams before that still give a shit the whole year. Like, so it just shouldn't be an excuse. And if you're a coaching staff, is there anything you can do about that if the players are kind of quiet quitting on you, or is it just over?
Once they quit on you, you can't get them back. I mean, once they quit on you, you can yell in the locker room all day. You can throw a chair. These grown men. Yeah. Show me when a grown man has quit on something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I'm with you.
Like kids, you can reel them back in sometimes. Young men, yeah. Grown men, they made grown men that's 70% of the team probably doubted in. What you gonna do?
Right.
And it's gonna become infectious. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah, I see Koulibaly. He's not as aggressive as he used to be defensively, right? I'm like, dude, don't let that sink into you. Get it. Yeah. It can be a poison.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the bad habits thing. You don't want these guys picking up bad habits. So is it you take the guys who are the biggest offenders and those are the people you are prioritizing moving at the deadline? Or is it just it's so pervasive and so widespread at this point, you just can't worry about it?
It wouldn't help. I mean, it would, but first of all, you're not able to do it. Right? Because, I mean,
there's too many guys.
Too many guys getting paid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to go through the head honcho to get that order.
Right.
Right. It's not something you can snap your fingers and make happen.
Yeah.
You may think it is, but it's because when you go get that call down, hey man, I'm paying this guy this much. I want to see my money's worth, even though I'm not getting anything at all.
Right.
He better get. I want to see some blood and sweat.
Yeah, so sell some tickets at least,
Yeah. Right. So it's a good idea, and it should happen. And look, if I'm not getting anything anyway, let me go ahead and play the guys who are gonna put their heart on the floor.
Yeah. Or at least just not the guys that are the worst offenders. Maybe you can make an example of one or two guys, and I don't know, maybe that reality checks the middle tier guys that do need a contract or do want to stick around or any of that kind of stuff.
Well, you can have one guy on the team that can be a bad defender and start line up. If it's contrast with twice as much scoring, so he got to be able to, whatever he's giving up on the defensive end, he got to be adding twice as much on the offensive end. Right. So it's always a guy like that.
Sure.
But it can't be 2 or 3.
Yeah, or 5. It never makes no sense in the chat said, fun fact, 2 years ago, the Thunder lost a game by 73. True. They've had some decent turnover. They were super young also. I mean, I think we're probably more veteran oriented than that Thunder team, and they were kind of growing organically. We're not loaded down with like super talented youngsters at this point, which is kind of part of the problem here. Sam Hershey asks, can you explain the pick and roll defense? The bigs seem to drop so far back that it's either an open 3 or an easy drive into the paint. I think that's part of the problem, Sam, is that if you're going to have a drop coverage big, and that's how they're using Gafford most of the time, guys are point switching and all this kind of stuff and rolling over immediately. So like Poole last night, there were a couple examples where, like Jahadi said, he got hung up on the screen and made this big production out of it and then just stopped. And now you've got Gafford with 2 guys. He either gives up something at the rim or chases that perimeter guy back out to the paint. And either way, you're screwed. That's why I don't like switching everything right away. So they're doing this drop coverage thing. I'd let him hedge a little bit or late switch or something. Just give them different looks. Play more zone. Like the good teams throw the kitchen sink at you over the course of a game. I don't ever see the Wizards do anything particularly different.
Usually drop coverage is because the big can't.
He can't. He's too slow. Gafford, I think, is quick enough to do it.
But also, usually you use drop coverage also when you have a point that can close that gap up and ride that man through that screen, right? So to where he's closing it up so much, it becomes one person. So now you can't screen me without screening your man.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of times it's not the big's fault; it's the point's fault, which is usually they're the ones who usually the ones you don't have to worry about. Right. So, but I've never seen someone that gets screened and looks forward to the screen.
Yeah. So
they can always use the excuse, well, I don't have to play defense. So now, if I'm a guy, what's his name? Our big.
Gafford.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. If I'm Gafford, I want to do drop coverage too.
Is it easier?
Because the job is all on me now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 2 every time. Right? If I got 2 every time, I'm at least protecting anything that's going downhill. Right? You're gonna have to recover back to your man who's a 3-point shooter. It's up to you now.
Yeah. Especially in that Hawks game, though, I feel like you have to be able to do something different than your primary defense. Like, you can't play a drop coverage big against Trae Young. He will literally eat you alive on that. Like, and he's going to throw that lob. It looks like a floater, but sometimes it's a lob. You don't know which it is. If you're backpedaling against him, he's going to score every single time. And you saw DeJounte Murray do the same thing. Like, he's great in the pick and roll, and then they ate them alive doing that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't use the same defensive scheme against every team.
Right. It's crazy. We play the same way every time.
You really can't use drop coverage. There's too many 3-point shooters.
Yeah. It's hard to do. But that was the thing, even with Porzingis and Gafford, 2 probably better off drop coverage bigs. Last year, they still did different things. Like, they would late switch with Porzingis a lot. Or Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They played more zone last year, I feel like, too. I would have to check percentages this year, but it just doesn't seem like we're doing anything to adjust to what the other team is doing to us at all this season.
And make that decision on a pick and roll, what defense you're going to use on pick and roll, usually based on what your point guard wants to do. What do you want to do on this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can get through. Okay, then we'll do that. Right? That's usually how it goes. Right? No, we don't have to do that. I'll get through.
Yeah, and Tyus has been really good offensively most of the time, but that's going to be the trouble with him defensively. He's not, I mean, he's reasonably quick, but he's not super dynamic. He's not long. He's not crazy athletic. And if the effort's not at 100% for someone like him, like he couldn't get away with not putting in 100% effort coming off the bench on a Memphis team that was trying to make the second round of the playoffs. Like this year, you don't have to be as invested, and that shows.
Well, what's crazy is when I'm watching the NBA, just throughout the NBA, you can't touch anybody. So the lanes are wide open now, right? Just be real. But if that's the case, your defensive effort has to be 10 times as better now as a team. Because, hey, the lanes we pretty much can't touch. So the lanes pretty much are wide open anyway. So we have to be able to be even twice as good because the percentage of, it should be like 50-50. Like 50%, the defender has an advantage just as much as the offense has an advantage.
Sure.
Now the defensive advantage outweighs the offensive advantage by crazy. I mean, the offensive advantage outweighs the defensive advantage by crazy. So how do we make up that percentage?
I've heard teams getting as detailed as if this particular player has the ball on the left side of the court, we're going to play it this way. Okay, we're icing everything. But if he's got it this way on the right side of the court, we're going to play it this way. I just refuse to believe that level of detail or preparation is happening with this Wizards team. There's no way. Either they're just totally ignoring everything the coaching staff is telling them to do, which could maybe happen to some extent, but
I don't see the coaching staff, and you know what? We're just gonna do this, and this is whatever. We're gonna throw our hands up with this, right? But as a coach, it has to be a point. You're like, how much is this stuff really registering? How much?
Yeah, they're just going to ignore it anyway,
yeah.
Right?
Or they're gonna ignore it.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of glad they got blown out at a certain point last night because it forced them to just give an extra 10 minutes to Koulibaly that he wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And he didn't shoot particularly well. He went 2 of 12 last night, but he was trying to do some stuff and being more aggressive and a couple of ISO moves. I wanted to see him put the ball on the floor and attack a little bit more, which he did. And that's valuable, I think, for him, is actually taking the ball to the rim and trying to finish over opposing length. And he still did other stuff, which was nice. He had 5 rebounds, only 1 assist, but that's okay. Still made a couple good passes. 3 steals, 2 blocks. I'll take that. If we're going to lose, at least lose enough that you're forcing the young guys out there.
Yeah, true. Koulibaly, I think when he first got out there, he was thinking of more of an aggressive player, even though he was a role player.
Mm-hmm.
And more of aggressive. Let me prove. He has something to prove.
Yeah.
I feel like as things go on, he's starting to sink into a role too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 3-and-D guy. We're going to just stand in the corner.
Mm-hmm. Instead of really trying to prove, still, he has to keep that level of proving something up.
Yeah.
Right, and that's now he's not getting as many shots as he would. He's not looking for many opportunities as he would. Mm-hmm. So, and to me, that's all just because he's getting too comfortable in a position as a role player.
Yep.
Instead of saying, "Hey, look, I gotta play. I gotta force myself in certain situations out of this role."
Yeah. No, I agree. Something we talked about last week and didn't get around to just timeline-wise, the notion of the Wizards moving to Virginia. And one of the claims that they made was how having this brand new state-of-the-art facility will be an attraction for free agents and it will help them build the team for the future. I can't speak firsthand of if an NBA player, if I'd give a shit what arena I played in, but I think Capital One from the arenas I've been is at least middle of the road. It's not like a total dump. I'm sure it could use some freshening up, as a lot of them could, but I don't know. For you, Jahadi, when you were looking at, well, do I want to take a contract somewhere else? Did newness or state of the artness of the arena you were going to play in factor into your decision making at all?
It does. Reason being, it lets
Okay.
you know what type of organization you're going to.
Okay, that's fair.
Right. If the arena is new, that means the organization is more up to par, not behind on the times as some organizations could be. Sure. Right. And like when I left the Wizards and I went to Phoenix, I realized I thought it was a step up, but it actually was a step down.
Interesting.
Arena was very small, was really old.
Uh-huh.
It didn't, and that really did play a factor. The practice court was really small, right?
I would think the practice court matters more than the actual arena you play in and things like the other facilities.
Mm-hmm. And what it does is show how much money they're willing to put in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you do have a new arena, as a player, you're like, okay, we love playing in the new arenas, even on the road.
Yeah.
Right. The biggest, the best, just like football. You want to play, you want to go to Dallas.
Right. Cool place to play.
Yeah. Play in LA. Right. And it shows, okay, that's a top-notch organization that they're willing to put all this into. So yeah, it does matter.
Okay.
As a player.
Like, for years, I don't know, people got excited about playing against Boston in the Garden because it was an iconic venue and it meant you were playing them, and they're a top-notch organization and they had a shithole arena. Like, I don't know. To me, like,
Garden is iconic.
Sure. I know Capital One Arena isn't, but
right.
It's also, it's not the bottom either.
Where, Boston Garden, those things, you don't even want to touch those.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you're playing in it, it doesn't feel as iconic as when the first time I went to Madison Square, I'm like, this is it? This is what all the hype is about?
Yeah.
But it's just the history
of it.
Yeah. So those you don't want to touch, but I don't know if it's a big recruiting tool.
Yeah.
As much as it is like just understanding it's a top-notch organization.
So that's the piece. And when I've had the opportunity to speak to former players, guys playing in the league, things like that now, one of the questions I always like to ask is, why don't the Wizards attract more free agents, or honestly better free agents? And the answer is never, meh, the arena's meh. It's always, well, they haven't been good. It's been a disorganized organization for 20 plus years. I don't trust that they're going to do the right things, and I don't want to be stuck there. Like, that's basically how I would summarize the consensus answer from people.
It's never the arena, not Washington. Right. Washington in comparison still has a good arena.
It's fine, yeah.
Right. And then it's right in the heart of down, like it's in the perfect place. It's not. Yeah. It's even if the arena is not bad at all, but location makes it even better.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, even for a player, right? Because most players want your first 2 years, you want to live near the arena, especially if you're a rookie. That's a great area to be in.
Sure.
Right, so it's not that. So yeah, as you get older, yeah, the arena it's just a reflection, like I said, on the organization, but it's not a recruiting tool.
Yeah, I just think they were grasping at straws trying to get people to get on board with that one. And I'm sure the new one will be nice. I actually trust Ted to put in state-of-the-art stuff and build it up, and I'm sure that'll all be good. I just don't think we're gonna get that from them. The other thing I want to do today is just
change the fan base.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm more concerned about. The fan base was more just diehard fan base, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
gonna get more corporate now.
Yeah, it's DC.
Yeah.
Now the fan base is going to be more expats, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what you can risk. People not really being fans. You know, you don't want it to be just a event.
Right. And the counter to that, though, is the Wizards for years, especially under a Poland and Susan O'Malley, marketed to opposing team stars. So half the building is sold out with the other team's people anyway.
Right.
But at least those are other basketball fans. If you're selling, luxury boxes to Amazon or something, to the I don't know, do those people give a shit about basketball, period, or is it just something to do after happy hour?
See, what happens is I'm worried it'd be hot for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like an In-N-Out burger getting put there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the line will be wrapped around the block for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
But
I'll be wrapped around the block for a while, and they'll be like, all right, well, this is something to do if we, it's going out to the movies.
right.
But when it was in downtown, it was what it was. It's what it was right now. This is what the city does.
Yep.
This is what we're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the heartbeat of the city.
Right. Yeah, I worry about that a little bit too, and I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see how it plays out. It'll definitely be interesting and a topic I think that's going to keep coming up over the next couple of years here. I ran a poll yesterday on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days on just, all right, it's the end of 2023. Check in with people, their thoughts on the fan base. So I'll run through. I'll get your answer to each of these. I'll give mine, and then we'll see where fans were on it. So first question I asked is, who's been the Wizards' best player through 33 games? And the options I gave them were Kyle Kuzma, Denny Avdia, Jordan Poole, and Tyus Jones. I went with Kuzma. Don't think that'll shock anybody who listens to this podcast. But Jahadi, who would be your answer, or someone that isn't on the ballot that I gave out there?
Those names you pick would be the ones I would consider in the running. It would have to be Kuzma, and surprisingly, Tyus is right there in the running too, offensively wise.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, he's the most consistent.
Yep, I agree.
Tyus is actually more consistent than Kuzma. Been more consistent than Kuzma.
The highs aren't as high, but the lows aren't as low either.
Yeah.
He doesn't shoot you out of a game too often. But I would have said Denny for the first 20 games was the second guy on my ballot. The offense has tapered off here a bit. I think that hurts because the defense I don't think has been as good, honestly, this year as it's been the last couple of years. So just got to strike that balance. And I actually like the shots he's taking and getting to the rim and things like that too. I do buy the shooting improvement overall. So just need that confidence to come back. And I think fans mostly agreed here. We got 541 votes on that one. 77% said Kyle Kuzma. 14% said Denny. 3% said Jordan Poole. Maybe that's Jordan Poole's friends and family. And 7% said Tyus Jones.
Cutthroat.
I mean, I don't know how you watch this team and say he's been the best guy on it personally, but everybody's got their own opinion.
Jordan Poole got a PR team somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Clutch or whoever is working the Twitter polls. All right, next one. I think this one's a more interesting one overall. Best defender. I gave them Denny Avdia, Daniel Gafford, Bilal Coulibaly, or Landry Shamet. Who would you go with, Chad?
To me, it would be a tough race between Shamet and Coulibaly.
I really have liked Shamet's defense a lot too, and he just doesn't get as much love for whatever reason. I guess maybe because the minutes are kind of inconsistent, but yeah, it's interesting. So,
well, choose one. It'd be Bilal.
I think so too. I think he's just the most dynamic, and he's kind of the most exciting. And I like a guy that can impact what everyone else does on the court. So you have to, prepare for his length and athleticism and things like that. Denny got 24% of the votes. Gafford got 19% of the votes. Most fans agreed with us. Coulibaly got 56% of the votes. Shamet, only 1%. So,
damn it.
People are sleeping on a guy here. I think he's been the best two-way shooting guard on the Wizards this year, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Best newcomer here. I should have probably put Shamet on this one. I just ran out of options, but I had Coulibaly, Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, or Danilo Gallinari. I would go best newcomers, Bilal on that one, with Tyus being a close second.
Yep, I'm doing the same. Yeah.
Well, if you could,
because he has the most growth in a lot of different sectors.
Yeah.
Tyus, I don't see how much more he can grow.
Yep.
I just like his consistency, and it's good to see something consistent this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's been as good as I would have expected offensively, I think. So,
Actually, better than I expected.
Yeah, I'm with you. Actually, I think that's fair. Most improved. I gave them Denny Avdia, Daniel Gafford, Corey Kispert, or Eugene Amarui.
So people going to expect me to go with
Gafford.
No, Denny.
Oh, Denny. Okay.
But I'm going with Gafford.
Okay, like that.
Reason being because Denny's improvement is Denny was on the list, right?
Yeah, Denny, Gafford, Corey, and Amarui.
Denny's improvement is more. It's definitely improvement, but it's more of things he already could do and finding better ways to do what he can do.
I think with the driving and the facilitating, for sure. I do think the 3-point shot is better.
But it's nothing that he didn't do before.
Yeah, I agree.
He just found more efficient ways and more solid ways to get it done.
I think being able to shoot threes unlocks that other stuff for him a little bit more easily.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly, right? So he's just figuring that out.
Yeah.
How can I make all the things I can do and expand, make them a little bit better? I'm fast. Let me be faster. I can jump. Let me jump quicker. Right? That's what Denny's, I feel like he's doing.
Sure.
With Gafford, I didn't expect the scoring that he was bringing this year.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't even know he could score. And then I didn't know he could score like he could, where he reads and his touch has a great touch.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Blocking, being able to really start playing a little bit further from the basket, being a part of the offense, not turning over, making sure he can dribble and hands off. What I'm more impressed by Gafford is I didn't see the IQ that I see now. I'm not saying he didn't have it. He just didn't show it.
Sure.
Right? And the touch around the rim, right? His what is his field? Is he the highest field goal percentage?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, in the Wizards for sure. In the league, I think he's top 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, that improvement is more leaps and bounds better than any other player's improvement on the team.
To me, those are like clear in a way the two guys though, and I think fans definitely. Well, actually, it was a little closer than I thought. Denny got 58% of the votes. Gafford got 21%, and Kispert got 18%. I'll be honest with that. I don't really think Corey's particularly better this year. I don't think the defense is any better. He's attacking the rim a little bit better on attacking closeouts, but I don't really see much change to his overall game. Maybe just mindset a little.
Improvement is more vast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's see. Next one I had was best veteran. I don't even know what that means. I just thought it was interesting to throw that out there. I had Gallinari, Mike Muscala, Anthony Gill, or DeLon Wright.
I would have to be on the bench to know.
Yeah, right. That's what I meant. How do you judge
watching
that?
It from this perspective, and I don't see it.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't seem like any of it's taken hold.
And
yeah.
so all I can go off of is, what I hear, and I think Gill is a really good veteran.
Yeah.
So I'm going off of what I hear, so I'm going with Gill.
That's the one I picked also. Just if everybody keeps saying it, there must be something to it at a certain point.
Right.
DeLon Wright won this one with 60% of the votes. Gallinari had 18, Gill had 15, and Muscala had 7. So sleeping on Mike Muscala a little bit. Last one, just to close this out, I had best fringe guy. I didn't want to say just two-way player because some of these guys actually are contracted players, but just guys that really aren't playing a ton of the young guys. So it was Jared Butler, Ryan Rollins, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and Jules Bernard. I voted Ryan Rollins for this one. I've really enjoyed Rollins' minutes. I wish he would play more, and I hope he does after the trade deadline.
Yeah, I would go with Rollins too on this one. And just because I know more of his game than anyone. And, not saying I didn't see the other ones, but I really know his game.
Yeah, you're not locking in when Jared Butler gets his final 2 minutes of the game, and it's not a guy I'm taking notes on at the end. Although I've been watching a little bit more of the Go-Go recently, and Jared Butler has just been killing it in the G League.
Really?
He was announced that he was G League Player of the Week this year. He averaged 28 points, 12 and a half assists, 4 rebounds in games from December 27th to January 1st. He shot 55% from the field and 69% from three over that week. So good for him. Shout out Jared Butler. I'd like to see him get more minutes as we get closer to the deadline as well.
Yeah, I would too.
Johnny, last one I got for you here. A different perspective on Twitter asked about a tweet that was going around. It was about 22 years ago. 38-year-old Michael Jordan bounced back from a career low 6 points and came back and scored 51 points. 24 of those were in the first quarter. And following that, he also had two 40-point games and just kind of went on a little bit of a tear after that. And in the video, like front and center, is you standing there with MJ as he's going off and getting some boards and things like that. I guess, do you remember that little stretch where he had like a really low game and people were shitting on him being cooked, and then he came back and showed everybody?
Yeah, I do remember that. I think, it's all about fuel with MJ, even at that age. So I think it was something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but something Kobe said.
Okay.
That tear started off with something that Kobe said, and I think it also started off, if I'm not mistaken, the first game started with the tear started off in Charlotte when he went back to North Carolina.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yep, and so something Kobe said aligned with something that him going back to North Carolina and being home, and he just went on the crazy stretch during that time. And I was like, you know what? Let me pick and rebound.
Get out of the way here. Yep.
Read it forward.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm not touching the ball. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, he would do a cross-court pass, and I know where the cross-court pass is going, and I jump up and grab it.
Yeah.
And act like it was passed for me, and I dunk it. So, I would literally have to do that.
Just to get involved
in that era.
Not to question your professionalism at all here, but did you ever get just like when MJ was going on a heater like that, just ever kind of like do like the fan moment out there on the court of just like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm playing with MJ as he's going for 50?
The one time he went for 50, I did. I'm like, man,
Yeah, he can still do this.
Yeah, he can still do it. And, at the end when him and Rip both had their hands like this,
yeah,
that moment I was like, wow. Right?
That's pretty cool.
That was a surreal MJ moment. But people watch The Last Dance and all this and like see this one side of MJ. Right? And I'm like, you know what? MJ only wants you to see that side.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is MJ is the most human. When he's in the locker room, when he's on the court,
yeah,
he's at his peace. He's really Michael. He's not MJ. He's really Michael.
Yeah.
Right? And so once you learn and get to see Michael and spend time with Michael on the bus, and right, and then he has to snap back into MJ, right? Once you get around Michael, all of that kind of stardom that you see in your eyes.
One of the guys at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Was that like a switch that flipped for him? Like, I have now stepped onto the court and I'm in MJ mode, or did you see like a ramp up over the course of pregame and stuff like that?
I saw with him in that time, fun.
Okay, that's cool.
He was more having fun.
Yeah.
He'll get on the players and be on them, but to me, that was I feel like he's still very much a competitor, but he knew that he wanted to have fun.
Yeah,
and so I think that was the more fun years than anything.
Yeah, I still kind of can't believe he played for the Wizards, to be honest with you. Like I see highlights sometimes and I'm like, I know I lived through watching those years, but it's like, oh yeah, that happened. It's kind of a nice reminder. All right, partner. I think that's really all I got for you here today. Kind of quiet one to start the year off here. Anything you want to throw out there or leave folks with before we get going? Maybe an update on the kids. How's the team going so far this year?
8-1. We had a back-to-back. Just played a team from Chicago yesterday called Whitney. Really beat them. So we're doing good. We're doing a good job. playing some big teams, man. This year we loaded up the schedule really tough, right?
A lot of travel.
Yeah, traveling a lot. And we loaded up the schedule really tough. Most of our guys are young. We starting 4 sophomores.
Wow. Okay.
So just the process of experience will be really good for them this year. And that's what and we're still lucky to still have a great record right now.
Yeah. Hey, can't do much better than 8-1 to start a year with a young team.
You know, the guys are really getting this sync behind that.
That's cool. Anything you specialize with the coaching stuff? Like, are you the defensive strategy guy, the rebounding guy? Like, what's your
more of a mentality? I like to pass on the mentality to the kids a lot.
I got you.
More of I'm a proactive guy. We got to be proactive. We don't want to be preventative. We got to be proactive. Like, we got to stop these things before they happen. So I like blowing stuff up.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. That's cool.
Just being physical. Hit them first.
I like it. We're gonna have to get you on the Wizards coaching staff here. This is what we need. We need some proactiveness.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt.
All right, everybody. This has been another Believe in Wizards. Thanks for joining us here in 2024. Now I got to get used to saying that. I've been writing it wrong on documents all week, so that'll take some getting used to. If you got questions for us, hit us up. It's kind of honestly a slow part of the season here, so we're happy to make this as interactive as possible. So just let us know and what you want to talk about, and we'll hit that for y'all next time. For Jahadi, this has been Believe in Wizards. I'm Matt. We'll check y'all next time. Please rate, review, subscribe, and we're brought to you by betonline.ag.
Peace.